Boy, it feels good to be a Trump supporter right now, doesn't it? Who would have predicted that Anthony Weiner would poke his head up again? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Folks, I've been with the campaign since nearly the very beginning. Spoken at rallies all over the state of New Hampshire, have traveled to different states throughout the country, have seen this audience grow and grow and grow and grow as more of you have started to believe and see the message that we truly are going to make America great again. We have all seen Mr. Trump stand and take attack after attack after attack. And yet, he has remained faithful to his mission. He's remained faithful to his message. And most importantly, he's remained faithful to each and every one of you. Yeah. I personally want to say thank you to Mr. Trump and to the Trump campaign for taking the arrows and taking all that he has taken from the media and from all over the country, the different attacks that he and his family have faced. I personally want to say thank you. So Mr. Trump says in almost every speech that he will fight for us, right? When with Hillary Clinton, you're with her. No. He's fighting for us. But folks, I know I said the name. Folks, Mr. Trump has fought for us. But in the next several days, it is time for us to rise up and to fight for him. We will take our country back on Tuesday. We will put a man into office who will represent our Constitution, who will represent our children's future, who will fight for the American people. Before I step down, I want to remind you of one short story from American history. We all know and love the Star-Spangled Banner, and many of us may know how it came to be written. But on September 14th, 1814, Francis Scott Key, just 35 years old, sat on a boat and watched his country be bombed and barraged by the British Army. And bomb after bomb, cannon after cannon, explosion after explosion, through the fog, through the smoke, through the waves. All night long, Francis Scott Key sat there wondering, with a pit in his stomach, wondering, will I have a country to return to? How many of you have sat watching the events of the last 8 years wondering, will we have a country after this? We all have thought those things, haven't we? And Francis Scott Key wrote these words the day after. On the shore dimly seen, through the midst of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes, what is that which the breeze or the towering steep, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines in the stream. 'Tis the Star-Spangled Banner, oh long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesday, November 9th, we will wake up and we will see our country once again, and we will see our flag waving. We will rise united. We will rise strong. We will make America great again. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce to you our special guest, Kate Quigley.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here today to share with you my story. On September 12th, 2012, my brother, Glenn Doherty, lost his life in the Benghazi terror attack. Glenn was a 17-year veteran, 10 years a Navy SEAL, and 7 as a contractor for the CIA. Glenn and Ty Woods, though the attack started on September 11th, fought through the night and ultimately lost their lives at 5:30 in the morning on the 12th. We believe this is because they were so special that they wanted their own day. September 11th belonged to others. On September the 14th of 2012, my family and I found myself at Andrews Air Force Base for the homecoming of their bodies. This is where I first met Secretary Hillary Clinton. In her time with my family, she told us that we should feel sorry for the Libyan people, that they were uneducated, which bred fear, which led to violence, and ultimately to the spontaneous protest that took my brother's life. I later learned she had similar conversations with all of the other families that day. Many of the conversations talking about a video. Later, when asked, she would say that we were confused by the fog of war, and somebody is lying about this, but it is not her. I can guarantee you, I am not a liar, and I was not confused. This is yet another testament to her lack of character and her inability to simply tell the truth. At the end of the ceremony, when the coffins were being loaded back onto the cargo plane, I was once again approached by the administration. This time, it was the Libyan ambassador to America who came over to me. He leaned in and he said, "I will never forget. We will find those responsible for this terrorist attack and hold them accountable." Imagine the irony that the only man that day who spoke of the terrorist attack was from Libya. These words were not uttered by anyone else in the administration. They were words that I knew in my heart of hearts to be true and longed to hear, for Glenn was simply too great to be brought down by anything else. On September 11th, Glenn was stationed in Tripoli and returned to the base after a 15-hour day out in the field. This was when the call came and the announcement made that there was an attack going on in Benghazi. Though he was dog-tired, he was the first to raise his hand to volunteer to lead the rescue mission that evening. Why, you ask? Quite simply, he had brothers and friends in Benghazi, and he would have it no other way. There would be many hurdles for the men that night, going from Tripoli to Benghazi, the first of which was that they had no plane. Under Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, she had allocated that asset elsewhere. She deemed it unnecessary. We later learned that Glenn attempted to wire $30,000 of his own funds to secure a transport for the rescue mission from Tripoli to Benghazi. As this was going on and the boys battled, there was a meeting called in Washington, D.C. Secretary of State Clinton, Patrick Kennedy, among others, were in attendance at this meeting. Live streaming video of the attack in Benghazi was ongoing. Ambassador Stevens at this time was missing, and this was 8 hours before the death of Glenn and Ty Woods. The talking points that came out of this meeting were about not offending the Libyan people, what uniform our military should be wearing, and how to spin the PR of a video about Muhammad. I was fortunate enough this summer to have a 2-hour phone call with Representative Trey Gowdy. He wanted to make sure I was briefed on the Select Committee hearing report, which was to be released the following day. The media quickly dismissed this report as nothing new. I beg to differ. I learned more in those 2 hours than I had in the past 3 years. What I learned was who we elect to President of the United States of America has direct life and death consequences. I believe in my heart that if Secretary Hillary Clinton was not Secretary of State in 2012, that it would be possible for Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods to be alive today. We will never know because she sent no one. She sent no one, and for this, she wants a promotion. We cannot let it happen. In the wake of Glenn's death, we launched a foundation in his name. We are so proud, the Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation. We affectionately refer to it as GDMF. I'll let you all figure that out. We've given over 20 scholarships to members of the special operations community as a means of going back to school and transitioning out of military to civilian life. If you'd like to learn more about this or about the amazing man and brother that Glenn was, please go to glendohertyfoundation.org. Thank you. Best of luck to Donald Trump on Tuesday. I would like to introduce Matt Mayberry, the Vice Chair of the New Hampshire Republican Party. Glenn Doherty, love you, miss you every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, because Glenn Doherty is not only a hero, his family, like Kate Quigley, is also a hero. So what I'd like to do is take a moment of silence to remember all those, the veterans, their families, who've given so much to our country and ultimately their lives. So let's take a moment of silence and think of them and not ourselves. Thank you very much. So, good morning. Wow, this sounds like a Hillary Clinton rally. That's awful. So let's start that again. Good morning. There we go. Those are some people who want to win some elections. Are you ready to win? Yeah! Perfect. I want to talk to you about the power of two. Because what I need each of you to do, please, again, my name is Matt Mayberry. I'm the Vice Chair of the New Hampshire Republican Party. And I need you to find two friends, please, to vote. Make sure they vote. I want to talk to you for a moment about what it takes, because you're going to have some friends out there who have never voted before, or they've moved. It's really simple. All they have to do is take out their, as I fish it out here, take out their driver's license. We have it. Show up at the polling place, ideally with a utility bill, a rent bill, or you can sign an affidavit saying that Matt Mayberry is Matt Mayberry and I deserve to vote. You can register the exact same day, the exact same time. The lines are going to be long, so bring some patience. But Mr. Trump has been doing this for a long time. We can afford to give a little bit more time to him. So ladies and gentlemen, will you find two friends this weekend to come out and vote for Donald Trump? Not so much. We need more than that. Are you going to find two friends? There you go. Those are people who are going to deliver an election. We need you to deliver 2 hours of time to help Donald Trump and the NHGOP ticket. We have an office in Salem. We have 10 other locations. Our volunteers have knocked on 1.4 million doors. So that is 60% more than this time in 2012. So we need 60% of you to donate just a little more time. If you don't want to make phone calls, if you don't want to knock on a door, grab some friends, go out to your local street corner, and just smile and wave at traffic. You will see hundreds of people just standing there, just waving. And when you see your volunteers and your friends, honk the horn, give them a thumbs up, give them some encouragement, please. So ladies and gentlemen, I need you to get out and vote on Tuesday. You know that already. But what I need you to do is I'm going to talk to two different groups of people. There are some folks who have been kind of holding back on supporting Donald Trump, my fellow Republicans. I have a simple message for them. Get over it. The primary is over. The time for victory is here. People like Steve Stepanek, who's been doing this for a very long time, has been talking around the state, talking about unity and bringing the ticket together. So if you're still sitting at home saying, like, I'm not sure, get over it. Because the Supreme Court is too valuable for your fragile ego to sit at home and not vote for Donald Trump. So the Never Trump needs to move over to Never Hillary. So, ladies and gentlemen, we also have a lot of tickets here in New Hampshire. Chris Sununu is in a tight race to be governor. After 12 years, let's move the Democrats out of the governor's office. Let's move Chris Sununu in there and get this done. And ladies and gentlemen, a Republican president is great. But a Republican president can be amazing if Donald Trump has a Republican Senate and a Republican House. So you've got to vote for Kelly Ayotte, you've got to vote for Frank Ginta, and you've got to vote for Jim Lawrence. But also, when you're out there voting, and some of your friends will do this, they're going to go and just vote for president and walk away. No. Again, do not do that. Go down the ballot. We have state rep candidates, state senate candidates that need your help. They need your vote. So please vote the Republican column from beginning to end. So that kind of ends my lecture of the day. So ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to elect Donald Trump on Tuesday? Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to elect Chris Sununu governor of New Hampshire? Perfect. Are you ready to send Kelly Ayotte and Frank Ginta back to Washington? Are you going to send Annie Custer home and send Jim Lawrence in her place instead? A gentleman who has lived this, and he knows this, he is a great American, he's a great friend, and he is the example. He was with Ted Cruz. When Mr. Cruz stepped out, Bob Smith said on that same day, I support our nominee, and together we're going to move forward. So Senator Bob Smith is an amazing man. Welcome to the stage. This is a great advocate for Donald Trump. Let's say hi.
Wow, what a good crowd. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Bobby. Our goal is to warm up the crowd and keep you content for a few minutes until the boss gets here. I have to say, though, standing in the back and listening to Kate Quigley and what she went through, what she endured, no one should have to. It's bad enough to lose a loved one, but to be lied to by the Secretary of State. Ladies and gentlemen, well, there's a lot on the line here. And it's not just about Donald Trump. It's about our country. It's about our country. Thank God Donald Trump is stepping up to help us. It's really, it really is amazing. It really is amazing. When I was listening to Kate, I was thinking about that moron that dropped his knee at on the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm thinking, people say, well, he has a right to do it. You know what? He does. But is it right to do it? No. It's not right to do it. It's not right to do it. My dad was laid to rest under that flag. He served in World War II. And so many of veterans here have sacrificed so much and all over our country. I know there are a lot. I know we're on the border. I know we're on the border of Massachusetts, so I know there are a lot of Massachusetts folks probably that sneaked in. Welcome. And I want you to call every single person you know in New Hampshire and tell them what they got to do, And the same if you're here from Maine, do the same thing. Just a moment for those folks here from Massachusetts. There was a great patriot who fought the Battle of Bunker Hill named Dr. Joseph Warren. And, you all remember him, and I know if you haven't, look him up. He's a great patriot. Not only doesn't get the recognition that other patriots get, but Dr. Joseph Warren was a doctor, and when he was asked, when they were putting together the boys to go fight on Bunker Hill, several people grabbed him and held him back and said, "You can't do this. We need you. You're a doctor. If people get hurt, we're going to need you." And he said, I'm going to Bunker Hill, and we have a job to do. And he said, "My fellow Americans, act worthy of yourselves. Act worthy of." That's what we have to do on Tuesday. Act worthy of ourselves. Act worthy of this country, the United States of America. I don't need to tell you any more stories about the things that have come out about Hillary Clinton cheating taking questions. A lot of people said they're on CNN for doing it, feeding the question. That's right. That's a good point. I agree. And they haven't really fessed up to it quite as well as they should yet. But how about her taking the question instead of throwing it back and saying, "I don't want your question. I'm running for president of the United States. I'm better than that." Oh, no, we didn't get that, did we? Several days ago, I put this tie on, and it was my lucky tie, and it's a navigation tie. It shows pictures of compasses and so forth, and the guys in the back are all making fun of me, "Why are you wearing that ugly tie?" So let me tell you why I'm wearing it. I put it on that day, and about 15 minutes later, Mr. Trump came up to speak and announced to the audience that the investigation into Miss Hillary Clinton has been reopened. And after that, the polls started to close again. So you know what? I'm not taking it off. You got it right. This baby's staying on right here. But there's so much at stake. There's so much at stake, and Matt talked about it. And you got to do everything you can. Everybody, every vote. It's very, very close if you read the polls. Who knows what the polls are? There was a guy named Richard Sweat that ran against me in 1996. Anybody remember that? He had the shortest term as a U.S. Senator in the history of the state of New Hampshire because the press said he won, and it was all over the newspapers. It was another Dewey defeats Truman deal, and they had it all set. The only thing is, after they counted the votes, Bob Smith was a U.S. Senator. So Dan Rather called me the next morning, a true story, and he said, "Bob, what happened up there, Senator?" He said, "What happened up there, Senator?" I said, "It's not complicated, Dan. In New Hampshire, we count the votes before we declare the winner, for God's sake." I want to speak. I know there are people, and I know it's not in this audience, but I know there's a bigger audience, and you'll be talking to people. There are people out there that say, I don't know, I can't do it. Trump, I don't know. Look. There are only two choices on the ballot, folks. Two. Only one of two people can win here. And, get over it, as Matt said. There's a great line in one of Willie Nelson's songs, and somebody said sing it. I don't know about that, but it goes something like this. "I find it easy to forgive you, but forgetting seems to take the longest time." Okay? Forgive. You don't have to forget. But forgive and go to the polls and vote for Donald Trump. Do any of you really want to be responsible for letting this woman become the next president of the United States? It might be that close. It might be a few hundred votes. We don't know. No one knows. Maybe some of the Democrats know, but we don't know. Look, we've got to do it all. We've got to do it all. What was that?
The polls are wrong.
Polls are wrong. You know what? We just got to vote, and we got to do it the right way. So, in fact, I'm going to turn it over to Governor Sununu in just a moment, but I thought since we do have to wait and he gets a little, I know it's a long time to have to stand around and wait, but it's worth it because he's the next president of the United States, and you're going to see him right here. So let me give you some breaking news here. I think that Bill Clinton endorsed Donald Trump, and I'm going to prove it. Now you listen to me, all of you listen to me. I'm going to tell you what. I want you to go out there and vote against Hillary. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. That Obamacare, that's a dumb idea. That's just crazy. That Obamacare is just crazy. And if she goes to jail, I'm going to be free as a bird to do whatever I want to do. Listen, folks, let me just close on a serious note. We've been through a lot of elections, and someday you're going to have to look and face your grandchildren, look them in the eye. And I hope that when we do that we can say that this time in our history, these people, us, at this time, we got the watch right now, folks. It's our watch, okay? And we have got to stop this woman, Hillary Rodham Clinton, from becoming president of the United States. And there's only one way to do it, and that's to vote for Donald Trump on Tuesday. And bring your friends. I remember as a U.S. Senator, I sat at Daniel Webster's desk. A lot of history in both Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And everybody who sat at that desk had to sign the drawer. And so it went from Webster down to Bob Smith when I left. And as I sat there and I signed that before I left office, I remember thinking, you know what? I'm a temporary steward. I'm just here for the moment. One blink. But this nation has got to survive. This nation cannot be here for one blink. Where are people going to go for freedom and leadership and prosperity and all the good things, all the things that this country, where are they going to go if America goes away? We can stop it. We can stop it by electing Donald Trump President of the United States. Thank you very much. It's now my honor to introduce, who I think is there he is, to introduce the former governor of the state of New Hampshire, John Sununu. And it was interesting to note when John was governor, we had balanced budgets too. And then we had surpluses. Surpluses. Okay.
Thank you. What a great crowd. I always have to after I speak after Smith, I always have to go and put this microphone down. Ladies, it's just as aggravating to me to have to do that as it is to you when us guys leave the toilet seat up. Congratulations for being smart enough to be at this rally for the next president of the United States, Donald Trump. Playing a little bit off of what Bob Smith said, his imitation of Bill Clinton and talking about Hillary, do you think Bill was referring to Hillary when he said, "I did not have sex with that woman"? Bob Smith made me do it. Look, we're almost there. But the operative word is almost. okay? Can you imagine how horrible it would be to come that close, right? We're almost there. Let's talk a little bit about why we can't just let it be almost there. A week ago, FBI Director Comey said the investigation was still open. Now let me talk a little bit about what that meant and what the real impact of that is. A lot of folks are waiting for a smoking gun. There's not going to be a smoking gun between now and the election. There's not going to be one. But what happened when Comey did that, he ripped the scab off what all of us, including many of Hillary's supporters, really knew. It was sort of a straw that broke the camel's back. It reminded America that under the Clintons, the Democratic Party has been infused with a culture of corruption for the last 25 years. It reminded America, and many of Hillary's supporters, and almost all of Bernie's supporters, Bernie Sanders supporters, that culture of corruption led by Hillary Clinton went all the way into the leadership of the Democratic National Committee, and they stuck it to Bernie Sanders, and he never had a chance. Corruption cost Bernie the nomination, and it's important for us to tell his supporters they're out of their mind if they vote for Hillary Clinton. It goes further than that. Think about, you don't need that kind of stuff, really and truly. There's a limit to what's acceptable and what's proper. Let's talk about what else she did. She's got her dear friend, Donna Brazile, at CNN. I wouldn't be surprised if the conversation went like this. Donna, what the heck am I going to do? I have no idea what they're going to tell me or ask me. And Donna says, don't worry, Hillary, I'll take good care of you. Corruption at that level, so that what we end up with is a sham debate. And the Clintons think they're entitled to do that because, after all, they're so much above the rest of the crowd. It goes further. It goes further. Culture of corruption. The Clinton culture of corruption. It goes, take a look at what happened in Virginia. The Democratic governor of Virginia has a lady running to help him get control of the state Senate. So what does he do? He does what is second nature if you're caught up in the culture of corruption imposed on the Democratic Party by Hillary Clinton. He has Hillary come in for a fundraiser for his PAC, and he takes more than $500,000, and he gives it to the lady who's running for that state Senate seat, who just happens to be the wife of the deputy director of the FBI. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If those ladies and gentlemen in the back with the cameras and their notepads had any responsibility at all, they would have called that a bribe. If it looks like a bribe, if it walks like a bribe, if it smells like a bribe, it's a bribe. culture of corruption. The Clinton culture of corruption. It even oozes into the Democratic Party in the state of New Hampshire. What were the headlines about 5 or 6 days ago? Maggie Hassan has to return $71,000 of illegal contributions. That's what we found out about. Who knows how much more there was? Clinton corruption has corrupted the state of New Hampshire and the Democratic Party in the state of New Hampshire. Even the guy running against my son, who refuses to open and rebid a contract that's so tainted, nobody could figure out why he wouldn't do that until the press points out $45,000 of contributions to him from the contractor. The Clinton culture of corruption is everywhere. We've got to clean it up. Our system of governance at the national level, at the state level, and at the local level is too precious to let the Clintons continue to poison it the way she has done. Now, there's other reasons. The really important reasons beyond saving the country from the Clintons, the real important reasons are we need change in America, and Donald Trump and Mike Pence will give us that change. What do we need to change? If you guys have friends and family around the country, I bet you've all had a similar phone conversation. They're trying to renew their Obamacare, and they're finding out it's 50, 60, up to 68% increases in premiums. That's coming from a package that the president promised us. You can keep your plan, you can keep your doctor, and your rates will go down. Hillary Clinton is just as dishonest as Barack Obama was when he tried to push that piece of garbage onto America. If for no other reason that there are folks out there reluctant about voting for Trump, you tell them if they want to save their pocketbook, they better get out and vote for Trump, because Hillary's going to break the bank. I get asked often, I tease Donald in the primary quite a bit, and he and I have laughed about it. And I get asked often, how come you're supporting Donald Trump after having given him a little bit of hard time in the primaries? And my answer is quite simple. Hillary Clinton makes it damn easy for me to support Donald Trump. What are the issues? The biggest issue is that she will continue this Obama-inspired slide to socialism, and this country cannot continue to go there with free education, with single-payer health care, an expansion of government's intrusion into our lives. It truly is a move to socialism, and her two favorite surrogates are, number one, the self-avowed socialist Bernie Sanders, and number two, the not quite self-avowed socialist Elizabeth Warren. We need more change than that. We have to rebuild our military. Donald will give you the numbers, I'm sure. But we have, under Obama, let our military capacity, the number of people we have in the service, the size of our Navy, the size of our Air Force, dwindle down to historic limits. It's unbelievable. And we let Obama do it. And we're going to let, if we don't elect Donald Trump and Mike Pence, this country will be sorry, because Hillary will continue that. What else do we have to rebuild? We have to rebuild the reputation of our nation around the world. We have a president who had a Secretary of State, and in teamwork, their perception was the U.S. is not really that exceptional. We're just one amongst the nations, and they let its reputation dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. We no longer are loved or even liked by our friends. We're no longer trusted by our friends, and we certainly aren't feared by our enemies. We have got to elect Donald Trump and Mike Pence. We need a change election. We need a change election. We need a change election. How do you get it? You vote, and you get other people to vote. Remember this. This is time for Republicans and smart independents and conservative Democrats to come home, especially here in New Hampshire. Come home, come home, come home, and vote the ticket. Republicans have one bad habit, and those that support Republicans have one bad habit. Every once in a while, we get too ticked off. And we get ticked off for funny reasons. So-and-so is running, and he or she only supports 90% of what I support, or 95%, or 80%. And we let the non-percent, the 0% Democrat get in office. Or we say, he didn't shake my hands at the rope line, or she didn't talk to me when I went to talk to her about my kids. Or even the one that has a hair of legitimacy but now has no place, they're not endorsing my candidate. Well, it's time we understood Donald Trump cannot change America without a Republican Senate, without a Republican House, and we've got to give him both of those in order to get the changes we want. Vote, vote, vote. God bless you, Tiny Tim. And look, we need a change in New Hampshire. 20 years, virtually complete 20 years, Democrat governors in New Hampshire. They have salami sliced away the New Hampshire advantage. They change a little of this. They change a little of that. They fake us out. They take the pledge and then they tax our businesses and chase the jobs out of the state. We've got to have a change. And as you might guess, I have a certain bias on the candidate running for that job. This state needs Chris Sununu to fix the mess the Democrats have made over the last 20 years. And let me tell you, his strongest asset is that he comes from good breeding stock. We need change. We need change, and it can't be small change. It has to be big change. So let me go back to what Mayberry and Smith told you. In my opinion, this is going to be, in New Hampshire, a plus or minus 5,000 vote election. That's it. 5,000 votes. You know what 5,000 votes means? There's about 1,000 of you in here. It's each one of you getting 5 more votes. Mayberry gave you a 2-vote charge. I'm a little tougher than Mayberry. You've got a 5-vote charge. A 5-vote charge. Please go out and do something about it. Plus or minus 5,000 votes. It's not just plus or minus 5,000 votes for New Hampshire. Take a look at the electoral vote chart. It all comes down to what happens here. What happens here will, as usual, pick the next president of the United States. Unbelievable, but true. You know, that's one of the beauties of Chicago. You live eternally. Thank you. It's really true, though. It's on our shoulders. It's on our shoulders. You're great to be here. You're great to cheer at the right lines. You're great to be enthused about Donald Trump. You're great to be enthused about Kelly. You're great to be enthused about Christopher Sununu. But none of those three, or Frank Ginter, or Jim Lawrence, or any of the Republicans on the ballot will win unless we go do our job for the next 4 days. Little less than 100 hours. We're not asking for 100 hours from you. We're asking for 1 or 2 solid hours. Do it at the supermarket. Do it at the dinner table. Do it over the phone. Do it across the street when you go and talk to your neighbors. But we need you to get 5 more votes each. And if you do, I guarantee Donald Trump and Mike Pence and Kelly Ayotte and Chris Sununu and Ginter and Lawrence will be elected. And not only will New Hampshire be great again, but Donald Trump and Pence will make America great again. Thank you very, very much. And I don't have anybody to introduce.
Thank you very much. Thank you, folks. You know, this is where it all began, New Hampshire. This is where it all began. First victory. This was our first victory, and I've never forgotten it. And I made a promise to you. We're going to keep the poison out. You know what that is, the drugs. We're going to stop those drugs. Right here is where I learned more about it than any place else. And we are going to stop the poison from coming in to this country. You watch. You watch. In 4 days, we're going to win the great state of New Hampshire. And we are going to win back the White House. And we've had incredible polls. You've probably seen the new Rasmussen poll just came out. We're 3 points up nationwide and going like a rocket. Many, many polls. I won't even go over all the polls, but we're leading in Ohio and Iowa and all over the place. I think we're doing great in North Carolina. I think we're doing great in Pennsylvania, too, by the way. And Florida looks beautiful. Florida looks beautiful. We have so many great polls. But you have to get out and vote on November 8th. You have to do that. We're on the cusp of historic change that transfers power from a failed political establishment and returns that power to you, the American people. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. There's some more breaking news, as you probably heard, that I'd like to share with you right now. Is that okay? As you know, the FBI now has multiple open criminal investigations into Hillary Clinton. This includes the discovery of another 650,000 emails and also a far-reaching criminal investigation into her pay-for-play scheme at the State Department. Last night, CBS News just confirmed that the 650,000 emails include brand new emails not previously seen by authorities. She said she gave them all in, right? She said, gave them all in. Well, when we saw 650,000, we figured, I guess there has to be some surprises. Wait till you see what they find in those 652. It won't be pretty. Hillary Clinton lied to Congress under oath when she said she turned over all of her work-related emails and that she didn't send classified information on her illegal server, meaning she may now face major problems for perjury. How can Hillary manage this country when she can't even manage her emails? Did you ever see, hey folks, let's forget all of the stuff. What a mess. What a mess. And all she had to do is follow the rules and assume people are watching or listening. Who cares, right? What a mess. And for what? Now we're going to have her running the country for 4 years? Honestly, what a terrible, terrible mess. Over what? Over nothing. Over what should have been nothing. All she had to do is follow the rules. Unbelievable. And now she's going to run the country. She'll be under investigation for years. She'll be with trials. Our country, we have to get back to work, right? Well, one of her top people, I guess her top person, said, this WikiLeaks, said that she has bad instincts. What a bad thing. Bad instincts. She should fire him, honestly. That would be good instincts. But she should fire him. John Podesta, in an email, said, Hillary has bad instincts. Do you want that for your president? And Bernie Sanders said bad judgment. But in all fairness, he was running against her. So he said bad judgment. But the guy that's running her campaign says Hillary really has bad instincts. Then we're going to say, oh, let's make her president. The FBI agents say their investigation is likely to yield an indictment. However, the report also showed that the political leadership at the Department of Justice is trying as hard as it can to protect their angel, Hillary Clinton. Why didn't they protect General Cartwright? And why didn't they protect General Petraeus? And why didn't they protect a kid who's taken a couple of pictures of a submarine that's an old submarine? And they put him in jail. They put him in jail. Lovely family, lovely mother. They put him in jail because he wanted to have some remembrance of where he worked. It's an old submarine. Believe me, they have pictures of that submarine that nobody knows about probably, right? They put him in jail. And you see what she does, and she's allowed to run for president. Hey, folks, and you know what it tells you? The system's rigged. And I've been saying that for a long time. System's rigged. She shouldn't be allowed to run. Hillary has engaged in a massive criminal enterprise and cover-up. She created an illegal email server to shield her criminal activity and corrupt pay-for-play. She illegally transmitted confidential information. You're just not allowed to do that. No. Forget about the second go-around, which she's in now. The first go-around, you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to delete after you get a subpoena. She illegally destroyed federal records, including 33,000 emails, which she deleted after getting that subpoena from Congress. If she were to win, it would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis. What a mess. I mean, we went through it with him with the impeachment and the lies. Aren't we tired of this stuff? She's likely to be under investigation for a long time, concluding in a criminal trial, our president. America deserves a government that can go to work on day one and get it done. Real change begins with immediately repealing and replacing the disaster known as Obamacare. And Obama's, he's campaigning all over the place. I left Miami yesterday. There was the plane. He's campaigning. He ought to be in the White House working and getting our jobs back and building up our military and creating some semblance of a border, which we don't have now. It's just been announced that Americans nationwide are going to experience a massive double-digit premium hike in Obamacare. In the great state of Arizona, where I just left, and I'll be back, premiums are going up more than 116%. Arizona, 116%. Over 90% of the counties in New Hampshire are losing Obamacare. They're losing the insurers. And that's going to be next year. So lots of luck negotiating, folks. 90%. Premiums are surging. Companies are leaving. Insurers are fleeing. Doctors are quitting. And deductibles are going through the roof. Other than that, it's a fantastic health care. Fantastic. It's really fabulous, isn't it? It was bad before they ever did it. You have to say, I'm pretty consistent. I've called a lot of things over the years, right? But I said Obamacare is not going to work before it was even approved. Then they got it approved. He got it approved by lies because he said, you keep your doctor, keep your plan. And even Democrats that didn't want it, they said, all right, well then. And he got people, they wish they didn't approve it now, believe me. It is a catastrophe. Yet Hillary Clinton wants to double down on Obamacare, making it even more expensive than it already is. And it doesn't work. I'm asking for your vote so we can replace Obamacare and save health care for every family in New Hampshire and every family in this country. Yeah. Real change also means restoring honesty to government. My contract with the American voter begins with a plan to end government corruption, of which there's plenty. First thing we have to do is keep Hillary Clinton out of office. That'll be a good start. I want the entire corrupt Washington establishment to hear and heed the words we, all of us together, are about to say. When we win on November 8th, we are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to drain the swamp. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. At the core of my contract is my plan to bring back our jobs. About time. The terrible jobs report that just came out shows the number of people not in the workforce increased by another 425,000 people last month. That's why you see these phony numbers about 5% unemployed. People are stopping. They're not looking for work anymore because they can't get a job. Then they take them off the rolls. These numbers are an absolute disaster. Labor force participation has fallen to its lowest level in nearly 40 years. That's what's happening. Nearly 1 in 4 people in their prime working years are not working. They want to work. They're not working. After 8 years, Obama is the first president in modern history not to have a single year of 3% growth. We're growing at an average of probably 1 to 2%. Nobody even knows. And nobody believes the numbers anyway. The numbers they put out are phony as far as I'm concerned. For millions of Americans, it's an economic nightmare. New Hampshire has lost 1 in 4 of its manufacturing jobs since NAFTA, a deal signed by Bill Clinton and supported by Hillary Clinton. This is the one that's hardest to believe of all. America has lost 70,000 factories since China entered the World Trade Organization. You people know it. New England, boy, do you know it. Another Bill and Hillary-backed disaster. We are living through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. And that's what it is when you think. We have a one-way highway right into Mexico and these other places. They take our jobs, they take our money, they take our cash. You know what we get out of it? Drugs and unemployment. It's going to end. Don't worry about it, folks. Don't even think about it. It's going to end. Don't forget, and I have to say this because I tell this story all over the place. I learned so much in New Hampshire because I see this place. It's so beautiful. To me, it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. Nice, beautiful, winding roads. Even the roads, everything's so, the trees and the little lakes and streams. And I sat down because I have so many friends up here because I worked hard during those primaries. Remember, I was supposed to lose the primary. I won in a landslide, right? Remember they had the story the day before? It looks like Trump could lose New Hampshire, and the numbers came out. It was a landslide. But what I learned is because it was sort of shocking, because I considered, I love this kind of look, and I consider with the trees and the whole thing, it's so beautiful. And I sat down with groups of people. It wasn't always big rallies because I'd sit down with people. Say, what's the problem? Every single group said heroin. I said heroin because it didn't make sense to me. You look at the streams and the lakes and the trees, and then they say heroin. And it was shocking. That's why I've never forgotten it. I never forgot those meetings. And every single group. And then I met with your police. You have you have such great law enforcement up here. But they said the same thing. And so much of their crime is caused by drugs. They come from the southern border largely. And I said to you, and you remember this, if I make it, we are going to stop that problem. And then we're going to work on all of the people who are so seriously addicted. And there are things happening. There are things happening with medicines that the federal FDA is not even releasing. They're not even releasing. There are things that are coming out that potentially could really help. But we're going to work on the people that have become so seriously addicted because it's tremendous. It's not only our youth. I say poisoning our youth, but it's a lot of other people. But I learned that from New Hampshire. Then I'd go to other states and they'd say very similar things. But honestly, never with as much fervor as drugs in New Hampshire. And it just really had a great impact. And I said to you, I'm going to solve the problem if I get there. And boy, are we getting close. Now we're getting close, right? True. We're going to solve it. When you see the rusted out factories and empty buildings, just remember this. Hillary Clinton's policies and others like her friends, did this to us, all of us. Just look at the devastation. Rockwell laid off 169 people in Manchester and moved their jobs to Mexico. Fisher, and these are recent, Fisher Scientific laid off 213 workers in Hudson and moved their jobs to Mexico. The woman, I just overheard her say, oh, I didn't know that, right? Now you know. Now you know. See, she was a little louder than she thought. That's okay. She didn't know. Now she knows. Car Component Technologies laid off 559 workers in Bedford and moved their jobs to Canada and to Mexico. A Trump administration will stop the jobs from leaving America, believe me. And we will stop the jobs from leaving New Hampshire. The theft of American prosperity will end. They've taken away our prosperity. From now on, it's going to be America first. There'll be consequences. There'll be consequences. If a company wants to fire their workers, leave New Hampshire, move to another country, wonderful, enjoy yourself, right? And then ship their products back into the United States, they will pay a 35% tax, okay? And let me just tell you a little. Right now, they move, they build, they have lots of fun, and they just send it right through a very weak border. First of all, they're going to have to send through a very strong border, but that's okay. But they're going to have a 35% tax. Here's what's going to happen. They're not going to move because it doesn't work anymore. They're not going to move. They're going to stay in this country. They're going to stay in New Hampshire. They're going to stay in this country. It's so simple. But the politicians will never approve that because the special interest and their donors want them to be able to go and, it's good for them. But it's not good for us. A Trump administration will renegotiate NAFTA. And if we don't get the deal we want, we will terminate NAFTA and get a much better deal for our workers. We have to have jobs. I said before, it's a one-lane highway. We have to have a lane coming in our direction too, folks. We get nothing. We get nothing. We will also immediately stop the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership. That's going to be the next disaster. That's another beauty. That'll take the jobs you have left. As part of our plan to bring back jobs, we are going to lower taxes on American business from 35% to 15%, and we'll keep our business. We're right now the highest taxed nation in the world. And remember, Hillary wants to raise taxes, big league. We will massively cut taxes for the middle class. She wants to raise them big league. It doesn't even make sense. We will also that's right, 1.3 billion, 1.6 billion. Huh? Trillion. Not a month. Trillion. You're right. Nobody can even believe it. Go ahead. That's right. He read her page. And if she says that, it's going higher. You know that. $1.3 trillion. It's inconceivable. We're the highest taxed nation in the world. Remember that. We will also we're going to save ourselves altogether. Okay? He says, save us. We're going to all save ourselves. This is a movement. I'll tell you, this is a movement like has never been before. And I say it all the time, and they don't even question it, because the dishonest media, among the world's most dishonest people, they don't even question it. And now we're gonna be so strong again and so smart again. We're going to be, you don't have to worry about saving. It's going to be well beyond saving, okay? We will also cancel billions in global warming payments to the United Nations, money that we don't even know what they do with it. We don't even know what they do with it. And use that money to support America's environmental infrastructure. For instance, up here, what we want crystal clear, clean water, right? Everybody. We want beautiful, right? We want beautiful air to breathe. We want safety. Other than that, that's what we want. The rest, we want our companies to go out and compete with the world. They can't compete because of all of these restrictions. But we want clean water, clean air, and we want safety. That's, to me, what I like. And that's, to me, and I've won many environmental awards, by the way. I've actually been called an environmentalist, if you can believe that. That includes protecting the Great Bay and the White Mountains of New Hampshire. We're going to protect them. They'll be protected. They'll be better protected than they are right now with a lot less intrusive nonsense. Our plan will end excessive federal regulations that are harming fishermen on the seacoast. You know all about that. They're making it impossible. They're making it for the miners, for the fishermen. They're making it impossible for the steel workers with all the dumping of steel all over the place. We will become a rich nation again, a truly rich nation. Some people think that doesn't sound nice. It's not politically correct. We have to. But to be a rich nation, we must also be a safe nation. Hillary Clinton wants a 550% increase in Syrian refugees flowing into our country. That's over and above the thousands and thousands being let in right now by Obama. Her plan would mean generations of terrorism, extremism, and radicalism spreading into your schools and throughout your communities. When I'm elected president, we will suspend the Syrian refugee program. And we will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. Sorry. You have no choice. We have no choice. And we all have a heart. And we'll build safe zones in Syria. We'll help them. We all have a heart. But we see what's happening to Germany and to France and to all of these. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Look at Nice this summer. Look at what's going on in Paris and all of these different places. We're going to work, but we owe $20 trillion. We're not going to spend the money. I'll get the Gulf states to put up the money. They have tremendous money. They need us. They have to step up to the plate. They need us. We'll get them to put up the money. We'll lead the effort, and we'll build safe zones all over Syria, and we'll take care of it. We'll get other people to pay. We'll get other people to pay. Who said that? Who? That statement could only be made in New Hampshire, I have to tell you. You people. Oh, if the press hears that statement, you'll be in trouble. But somehow I think he'll be able to handle it. A Trump administration will also secure and defend the borders of the United States. And yes, we will build a great wall. Great wall. We've received the first ever endorsement from our ICE and Border Patrol officers. We will work with them. These are great people, by the way. Would have been a lot easier if they didn't. Look, if Hillary got in, all they have to do is stand there and let people walk right in front of them. These are great people. They know what's happening to our country. They see what's happening to our country. We will work with them to stop the drugs from pouring into New Hampshire and throughout the country and poisoning our youth. The immigration officers warned in a letter that Hillary's plan is the most radical immigration proposal in U.S. history, and that will lead to the loss of thousands and thousands of lives. It's a quote from them. As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton allows many, many people, she allowed so many people, the most dangerous and violent criminal aliens, to go free because their home countries very intelligently wouldn't take them back. We'd get these people that weren't supposed to be here, that are violent criminals, drug dealers, gang members, heads of gangs. We put them in a plane, we send them back. Their countries say, we don't want them. We don't want them. We're not taking them. They'd call the Secretary of State or her people. They won't take them back. That's okay, bring them back, let them out. And then they kill people, okay? Or they do other things that are very bad. I promise you that when we deport some real bad ones, there will never be a time when that plane or whatever form of transportation they want to use, there will never be a time when that plane comes back with that person sitting on the plane. Ever. Ever. Never happened. They don't respect us. These other countries don't have respect. Hillary supports totally open borders, there goes your country, and strongly supports sanctuary cities like San Francisco, where Kate Steinle was murdered by an illegal immigrant, deported at least 5 times. A Trump administration will cancel all federal funding to sanctuary cities. We will end illegal immigration, stop the drugs from pouring into our country, deport all criminal aliens, and save so many American lives. We will also and let's say, it's just like, doesn't it make sense? We will also repeal the Obama-Clinton defense sequester and rebuild our badly depleted military. Greatest people on earth. The greatest people. Our Navy is the smallest it's been. Listen to this. How sad. And then you see China in the South China Sea building their fortresses and taking our money. They take our money and they build their fortresses. And we'll have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with China. I've made a lot of money dealing with China. China's terrific. Look, dealing with China is great. But I'm not angry at China for doing this stuff. I'm angry at our people for allowing it to happen. Our Navy is the smallest it's been since World War I. You believe that? We will build the 350-ship Navy that our country needs and really is requesting, which means lots more work for the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Right? Great shipyard. Not too busy, but it's a great shipyard. We'll make it busy. And you know, things like that. Number one, we're building up our defense. It also puts our great people to work, right? It's great. We will also expand the Center of Excellence at Portsmouth to recruit a large number of skilled craftsmen like pipe fitters and welders that we need to expand our fleet. I'm honored to have the endorsement of more than 200 top admirals and generals and 22 Medal of Honor recipients. I was with them last night. Near Fort Bragg. We were right near Fort Bragg last night. We had some amazing people. We had over 20,000 people. It was the most unbelievable evening. And we had tremendous numbers of admirals and generals, and we had a lot of Medal of Honor winners. Amazing. It was an amazing evening. Our new foreign policy will put America first. You haven't heard that for a long time. Hillary brought death and disaster to Iraq, Syria, Libya. She empowered Iran, and she unleashed ISIS. Now she wants to start a shooting war in Syria in conflict, and it's in conflict with a nuclear-armed Russia that could seriously lead to World War III. I think she's an unstable person to start off with. I really do. I think she's unstable.
Give me 1 second, guys.
Establishment have spent $6 trillion. Wars that never end, wars that we never win. Right. And now it's in worse shape than it's ever been before. And we have to rebuild our country, folks. We could have rebuilt our country twice. And the Middle East now is far worse than it was when we started this whole mess. Right. They've dragged us into foreign wars that have made us less safe. And they've left our borders wide open at home. Isn't it interesting how we fight for other people's borders? Lose our lives, the money, the most important of the lives, the great lives. We lose lives, the money, and yet we want to have open borders, right? Explain that. We fight for borders for other countries. Half the people never heard of these other countries. They want borders. And then we leave our borders open. And they've shipped our jobs and they've shipped our wealth to other countries. To all Americans, I say, it is time for new leadership. Time. We need change. We need change. The last thing we need is 4 more years of Obama with ISIS. Yeah, that's really nice. I think we're going to have a great, great day on Tuesday in New Hampshire. Right? You know, one of the big commentators, political commentators, I thought I'd tell you, it's only good for your ego, but just said, whoever wins New Hampshire is going to win. It's interesting. 5. Just said, you'll win by 5. Only 5? I want more than 5. Let's win. Just in concluding, just think about what we can accomplish in the first 100 days of a Trump administration. We're going to have the biggest tax cut since Ronald Reagan and maybe beyond, and Hillary wants to raise your taxes. We're going to eliminate every unnecessary job-killing regulation, killing businesses. We will cancel every illegal Obama executive order. We are going to protect religious liberty. Rebuild our military and take care of our great, great vets. We're going to take care of our vets. And I mean really take care of them, not like all the lip service they've had for 25 years. Our vets, by the way, folks, are treated so poorly. The stories are horrible. Stories, oh, great. Oh, that's great. Hold that up with pride. We love you, man. We love you. That is beautiful. Thank you. We're going to take care of our vets. We're going to provide school choice and put an end to Common Core. We're going to have education local. We will support the great men and women of law enforcement. Something which you folks like a lot. We will save our very much under siege Second Amendment. And appoint justices to the United States Supreme Court who will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's time to cut our ties with the failed and bitter politics of the past. Hillary Clinton is the candidate of yesterday. We are the movement of the future. Common sense, intelligence. Our movement represents all Americans from all backgrounds and all walks of life. We're asking for the votes of Republicans and Democrats and independents and first-time voters, of which there are plenty. You just have to look at the lines in Florida and North Carolina and all over the place. You look at what's happening. Tremendous numbers of people that haven't voted in 20 years or first-time voters. We're fighting like him. He just said like him. Well, thank you, man. He just said I voted. Is that your first time? That's beautiful. Thank you. A lot of people. Now, I mean, you have people, literally, and they show the lines. In Florida and Texas, remember they said, Texas is in play. 2 weeks ago, I said, really? I thought I was doing great in Texas. These people, they're horrible people. Texas, they go, Texas is in play. And then they have the lines that are a mile long. And then you have this wonderful guy, Mr. Miller, Sid Miller, gets on one of the shows. How are you doing in Texas? He said, this is a total blowout for Trump. Now they're saying it's a play. He said, these lines are a mile long. We never had lines like this. And people that have never voted before are coming onto the lines wearing Trump shirts and hats and buttons falling off the hat. These are people that never voted. These are people that didn't give a damn for politics because they never saw anybody that they liked. They love the country as much as anybody. But they never, like you, but they never saw anybody that they felt good about. And they didn't vote. And now they go from that, they go from being a non-political person into wearing Trump shirts and buttons. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But Texas is a total blowout. But you remember, right? Texas is in play. These characters. They're just bad people. The media. They are bad people. Bad people. And then one of them said this morning, we were wrong about Texas. It's a total blowout. We're going to have a lot of blowouts, I think. I'll never forget it, folks. I'm telling you, 4 or 5 days ago, before the lines formed, Texas is in play. I said, man, that would be terrible. I don't want to lose Texas. That would be terrible. Total blowout. We love the people of Texas. We are fighting for every citizen who believes that government should serve the people, not the donors and not the special interests. We're fighting to unlock the potential of every American community and every American family and hope and pray and yearn for a better future. I'm asking you to dream big because with your vote, we are just, can you believe this, 4 days away? 4 days away. We're 4 days away from the change you've been waiting for your entire life. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. He's just shouting. A vet. He's a great veteran. He's just shouting, are you ready? I'm ready, I promise. I didn't need this, folks. I was on the other side. I understood the other side very well. It was very nice, very enjoyable. But I love this country, and we had to do this. Believe me, we had to do this, and I'm ready. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Together, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. God bless you, everybody. God bless you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, New Hampshire.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Us as your stream of choice. There is 2 more Donald Trump rallies and a ton of Mike Pence rallies. So come back in around 15 minutes and we'll have an updated schedule of all the rallies for today. Stay here with us and you check that out. Thank you again for joining. You guys here in just a few minutes. Till then.